Welcome back. It is qualifying time for the Winter GP event. We had a disconnect yesterday, so we're retrying today, and we are going to have to start scoring maximum points. Now, Winter GP, very fortunate because in the UK right now, it is absolutely freezing. So it's time to warm up them engines and start scoring points. We've got USA, Spain, Mexico and Hungary for you. And these are the car settings as per usual that we're using. We've got Norris and Verstappen, and we've also got Hydra now Max, and it's just Leviathan that we're missing. So we could do with that this weekend as we set our sights on tackling Music Man. So let's get into it with race one, and it is going to be the Circuit of the Americas. Race number one at the Circuit of the America. And if you haven't already done so, there is a link in the description to my Discord server. Join that. We talk through strategy and every single player is improving every single day. So join in on the fun. So here we go then. So where are we standing? We're going to use Dead Fast on Norris. We're going to use Lumberjack for a bit of the overtaking on our second driver. We're going to do 2 sets of soft runs. They're going to be 2 stopping. And we've got to get Max Verstappen this weekend up into P1. That's the aim. That's what we got to do. So let's see if we can get a good start. Verstappen gets bogged down. Norris is through and away. We're going to leave him boosting. Verstappen takes a very wide line and sits in P10. So a lot of work to do with Max. Max all over the back of the rival Norris. And hopefully we can get him down into this section of the track. Can we go up the inside? We can. We can get P9. And what about down the straight? Nice moves up the inside. And Max Verstappen is sitting nearly into P7. But he is into P6. So we've made some ground up. And we're going to make this strategy even more possible now. With that beautiful move down the inside of the back straight. Bunch of soft tyres around us. Some hards further back in the field. So we're just going to bide our time now and await this race to come into play. Obviously, this track we're using Dead Fast for the speed, the fuel and the tyre management. And Lumberjack, we've got the speed as well, but we've got the overtaking as part of that. As we come down into the second part of this lap again. So 2 laps gone. Norris leading very comfortably. We haven't got to worry about him. We're going to set him on the way. And now Verstappen has got just the soft still ahead of him. So we're going to keep trying just to close that gap. We're not going to come back for servicing. But we are going to come back for servicing with Norris. Because Norris is clear by a good 1.5 seconds. And we're going to just push Verstappen now. Just to close that gap up a little bit. Whilst keeping above that 50%. And he puts on the brakes. And Norris is in. So Norris comes in. And it's going to be big work to get that P2. And in comes now Max Verstappen from P6. And we're going to conserve with Norris. And can we get a good stop? We do get the Mercedes. No, we don't. I thought we had him then. We want to get that Mercedes though. And we've got him. So P7 for Max. And ideally, we need to get ahead of Norris fairly quickly. Not our Norris, the AI Norris, as we get Lewis Hamilton. Brilliant move up the inside, and we are really having to push now as Verstappen comes into the middle section of the track. Coming behind the 2 Red Bulls, Max Verstappen behind Perez. So Perez will help Max as he normally does. He helps me go wide, and that's the annoying part. And we are up to P4, and can we send one up the inside on Max? We can't. And we're going to keep pushing. We're going to come back for mediums. We've got the tyre management to do so. And that's a bad corner by Max. And we're trying to go P4. Couldn't quite get there. So down the home section where the fans are at the bottom. Where the famous climb is also where people can watch over. And we are coming in now P4. So we've got a lot to do still. As we come in for some medium tyres. And it's going to be very nervy. And we're going to still just bide our time with Norris out front because he's absolutely fine. And here we go. We're going to push now with Max. And the question is, we should be able to jump Max. We should be able to jump Lewis. Norris will pit, but we're still a good 10 seconds behind. So we've got to close up with Verstappen, and we've got to start by getting past Sergio Perez. So can we do it down here? We can. We're up to P6. Nearly goes off the track. As Lando Norris is coming around the last section, but he won't be pitting just yet. So we've got every chance of pulling off a 1-2 still in this race. As Charles Leclerc goes past now, and we are P3 and P4. So P3 and P4, with Leclerc not pitting, Lando will pit. So we've got to get past Charles. And we have got a lap and a half to do so. So what about Norris down the straight? He gets him. What about Verstappen? Verstappen can't. And what's the gap to the leader? 4.5 seconds. And we haven't got the best amount of fuel either as Lando comes into the pits and we set ourselves on Charles Leclerc. So we get up to P3. Can we get Lando? We can. So we're up to P2. This has been a very hard fought 1-2. But can we hold? Can we hold on? We've got Lando Norris on the soft tyres behind us. And we're just going to try and conserve a little bit where we can. Because this is going to be very tight at the end. So coming into the last section. Half a lap, not even that, quarter of a lap to go. Norris will come over the line to win. And that is a very hard fought P1 and P2 in the very first race. God, that made me work. That warmed me up. That got me a sweat on. As we are P1, P2 to start today's qualifying. Race number 2 in Spain. And we have a wet qualifying so far. And let's see what we can do with this one. Where do we qualify? We've got Lando Norris for a brilliant P2. Max Verstappen in P9. It's going to get interesting. As we start and put our boosts on, we're going to go hex, so we need the overtaking. And I'm also going to go tuning with Lando. So Lando should get away from the field here pretty quickly. The question is, can we get Max Verstappen? And look at that, 20 seconds of rain, that's it. That is it. So here we go, lights out and away we go. Norris P1 as we thought. What about Max Verstappen? P8, getting blocked out a little bit. But he's going to keep the pressure on the field. Up the inside, can he go? No. What about now? Yes, can we get P7? We can. We're up to P7. Great move by Max there. And now we set our sights, ourselves on Carlos Sainz. I was going to say we set our sights on Sainz. As we lose a spot, but gain a spot. Back, it's all change at the opening part of this race here in Spain. P1 and P7 at the moment. Can we get past Lewis though? We're boosting a bit too much for my liking, but we're going round the outside and up the inside. And I tell you what guys, look at that. Max Verstappen on the hex, absolutely brilliant. And just by 3 corners we've gained nearly 3 positions. That is absolutely superb. And we're going to do one more lap. As I try to put a late entry into the pits, not going to work. We're up to P3 though. And what have we got? We're going to run out of tyres potentially because it's wet. So we're going to come back. Going to put on some mediums with Lando. And Norris now right behind as well. So we're going to put some mediums on with Verstappen. Should get Norris. We do. So we're up to P2. So we've worked this out a treat. We've got rain incoming in a couple of weather. It's going to be one of these changing weather conditions. And it's going to test us. The field carry on. It is now bone dry out there. And in another 20 seconds, it's going to be raining again. This is going to be awful to be in. But I'm going to push Max, get him past, as Max Verstappen cannot get past the rivals on the wet tyres. But we're slowly getting through. And now what about the rain coming in? How long is that going to be? It's going to be 20 again. And we can't get past Charles Leclerc on the wet. The wets are coming back at us. And it's going to go dry again though. So we're going to just take our time. We don't need to push this. because we are going, because that hex is still going to help us in the rain. But it's going to get dry again. And this is going to be the scene of this whole entire race by the look of it. And it looks like the AI might pit for some soft tyres, potentially, as we get Leclerc. As we don't get Leclerc. I thought we had Leclerc, but we don't. So, the weather's changing. We're changing position, because we're up to P2. Norris should come back for dries. Norris comes back for wets. And it is going to be wet in a minute. Oh, God, what a race this is, guys. What a race. We're going to boost now as quick as we can to try and get back to them pits. Because this heavy rain is going to be a nightmare. And what's the gap we've got? We've got an okay gap. This is an absolute monster of a race. As Verstappen comes in, we should be able to match the field here and just survive for a couple of laps. But Norris is going to get us, and it's going to start drying out again any second. So, can that hex get us past the Lando Norris? It can. So, we're up to P2 and P1, and we're just going to stick this out then with 1 lap to go. What a weather-changing conditions this has been. It has been so difficult to judge. But we're now up to P2, and that's the main thing. And coming around the home straight with 1 lap to go. Get me off this track and this weather changing. It's horrible. We just need to protect Max Verstappen. We've got heavy rain coming back in again. This has been every 20 seconds on the dot. This has been incredible. But Lando Norris has made smooth work of it. He's still got 5.5 laps of fuel. What about Max? Max is going to be absolutely fine as well. And we are going to navigate P1 and P2 in Spain with some atrocious conditions. But we survived. P1 and P2 again. 47 points in the bag. Race number 3. It's getting interesting. We've got to keep up the max scoring. We've got a close rival here on team score. So this could go either way in Mexico. But we're going to get P3 and P7. And we're going to use Deadfast and Lumberjack. So we're going to do the 4 and 4 strategies with both drivers in the hope that we can indeed rescue 47 points. Not sure if it's a real player. I assume we're about to find out as we go racing in Mexico. And we'll be passing through the beautiful stadium section of what is Mexico's circuit. So can we get a good start? Norris does, and Norris gets into P1. Max Verstappen looking at the inside of Charles Leclerc and takes it as he leaves the door open. And now Max Verstappen versus Max Verstappen, and there's only one winner there. Guess what? Max Verstappen. And a P4 for Max, all over the back of Lando Norris. And he'll conserve, bide his time for the straight, because that hard tyre is not going to be great for Lando Norris. So, on conserve with... Now we're going to start pushing. We're going to try and send one down into the first corner on young Lando on the hard tyre. And he hasn't allowed us to move past. How dare him. So we're going to carry on in P4. We can see P3 and P2. They're on soft and mediums. Or medium and hard even. Can't even get me words out straight. So we're going to create just a little bit of gap between Norris and Verstappen. So we've got that gap there. We're now going to boost, because we should have a good gap. If you've got about a second gap, you should now be able to fly down the inside of your rival. And there you go. That was our problem last time around. We were too close. And we are up to P3. And looking around us, few soft tyres behind, they're going to create the gap for us to come back out into the field. So we're going to close up again a little bit on Lando. We're too far back, I think, to get him into the first corner. But we're going to boost him through. See if we can get him. We're going to give him a go, though. And Max Verstappen very closely, nearly catching him. As we are going to stick with mediums on Norris, we can afford to push him now. And Max, we're going to try and close the gap. I want to bring the gap as much as I can. I don't want to be stuck behind one hard driver for as much time as I can. Don't want it. And we're going to time this beautifully with Verstappen. Hopefully we don't double stack too much. Well, we are. But it's not going to be too bad. That's not too bad of a double stack. And we want to get P5. Can we get ahead of P5? We can. So that's worked out a treat. It didn't cost us. And now we've got clear air to run in. The gap to Norris, 7.1, coming down. So we've got to get Norris by doing the undercut. And it is going to work a treat by the look of it, as Norris tries to get past Norris. And he's holding us up a little bit. And he carries on. So Lando's in the pits. We're going to get him. We still can't get the hard tyres of Lando Norris. He's been an absolute pain. And still we try. And still we can't get. Now we are going to jump him in the pits. But we haven't got loads of fuel left with Max Verstappen. So we're going to have to start conserving very shortly with him. As now Verstappen gets... This is a mayhem. Absolute mayhem. As he comes into the pits. So we're going to reduce down with Max. We're going to try and conserve where we can. And we're going to try and keep Lando Norris behind us. And you can see, with the back markers, it's going to be a little bit difficult. Because we are all over the place, Max Verstappen. So we're going to boost again. The main part is the straight. We need to stay clear of Lando. Another wide corner. That's not what we want. Max struggling to hit the apexes in this race. And now we are on auto conserve. So we really need to be careful with how much fuel we start to use. And where is Lando? He's enough back at the moment not to worry. Difficult overtaking spot through here. So we should be able to just save some fuel. And then coming out of here, we're going to boost again. Hopefully the back markers do not get in the way. And they're not going to. We're going to survive. P1 for Norris. P2 for Verstappen. Another closely fought race with the AI. But it is 47 with one race to go. Race 4. The final race of qualifying. We've got a higher team score player. So it's going to be very tough. But we've got to give it our all. We've got to get the 47 points. And look at that for a qualifying. P3 and P8. That's going to be tough for Max. But we never give up. So we're going to go Kawhi. Soft and mediums potentially for them. And then Norris, I'm going to actually go with a tuning. Or do we go cornering grip? Probably at Jean actually. I'm going to do the same strategy with him. So we can do 4 laps on the mediums at the end. No drama. And now we're going to settle down for the last race. Can we get a good start though? It's all about the start. Is going to set this race up. And Norris flies into the lead. Verstappen gaining a position. Can he gain another one? He can. P6 for Verstappen. Any more positions on the table? Are we going to be eating some nice dinner off the table as we nearly get Max Verstappen of the rival? So, as we settle down, Norris is flying out front. We've got Max also pretty much flying on the Kawhi. And that's looking a good boost on here. I expect it should be. And now we're going to just keep Hamilton behind. There's a mistake from Max Verstappen. And we go up the inside. That's what we needed. And we're going to keep boosting for a minute. There's a Ferrari there for the taking. It's not going to be our Ferrari just yet. So we're going to bide our time. We've got to keep moving past. P2 is on mediums. And we're going to keep this Max Verstappen behind us. So we're going to try and get... We are running low on tyres, but we're going to give it a push for Leclerc down this straight. Can we get him into the first corner? He defends. Defends deep. Doesn't defend well enough. P4, Max going round the outside of Norris. P3, got to conserve now, got to. We are low on tyres, but we're closing in on P2, who's on the mediums. He's going to be going an extra lap. A lot of the field behind us won't be going an extra lap. They're on the softs. So we're just going to see how this plays out. It's going to be interesting. Norris in the lead. He's fine. What's the gap? 5.7. So I'll probably push at the end of this lap with Max if I can. And then Norris. Let's boost Norris. See if we can get him out ahead of the rival and hold him up on the mediums. That's the strategy, guys. This is why we think about strategy. We're in. we're not going to get him, but we're going to push for the rival. So can we jump the rival by getting back past him and holding him up? What about Max? Max comes back out, P3. And we're going to try and close on Lando Norris now. We've got to get back past. So the rival's not pushing at all. And the gap is 5.6 seconds. Norris goes through. Can we hold him up a little bit? We can hold him up a little bit. We are P1. Max into P3. So brilliant move. The rival is about to come out the pits on the soft tyres. So what I'm going to do now is try and get Verstappen back to Norris, because Norris has got De Gin, which is a blocking boost, and I want him to be blocking the rival if the rival pushes. This is the strategy that I'm thinking. I'm going to hope that it works out. So let's just get past, let's get Max Verstappen past Norris, like so. So hopefully Max goes up the inside, and then we'll start pushing both drivers. So now, if the rival comes at us, hopefully we can keep him behind with that Gin. And P3 is quite far behind at the moment. So it looks like we're about to set 4 lots of 47 points in the bag. As there's loads of back markers. We start the last lap, and Max Verstappen hasn't got the best fuel, but P3 is quite a distance away. So we should be in the bag here. Should be. You never know. Half a lap to go as we lap P10. Verstappen and Norris then will come home for a P1 and P2. We've used all the fuel from Max, nothing left in that tank, and it is P1 for qualifying, P2 for Lando Norris. The rival back in P3 and P4 gave us a cracking race, but our strategy in the end worked a treat. In the freezing conditions of the UK, I am suddenly nice and warm. Get the marshmallows out, because we're toasting a 47-point run. So we beat the higher matchup. Where does it leave us in qualifying? We are P1 at the moment for this round, 188 points. Big shout out to Tom Man, second place from Blue Flags as well. He's sitting on 185. Good round from him. And that is qualifying complete. Plenty more to bring you this week though. I've got track guides coming out my ears. They'll be being released at some point. We'll have the free-to-play guide again next week as well. So much content, all for you. And make sure you jump in that Discord channel as well. Get talking to me, get talking to the other subs, and you will absolutely love it. Until next time, I'll catch you in the next one.